one of your assumptions is reflective of the scenario as much as possible. So what can we take now? We'll talk about that additional investment that reflects directly from the scenario. Of course, the other things are also reflective, but if there's anything that the scenario points out that can be useful, it's good that we take it. So can you see anything here? We'll talk about asset betas. It just be horrible if one had given an asset beta kind of thing in a question that did not require you to compute or to discuss that. You talked about the risk-free rate, Abi?
Yes.
That would be something to use here. That would make sense.
What of the one they said that the tax allowable depreciation is equivalent to?
Okay, so that's two. That's also, so there's a number of things that you can decide which one you want. You find more reasonable. So the only thing is they've given me formats. You have more than 10 things to talk about. So you just pick the best 4. So growth, revenue, beta, and then so in this case, I'm going to use that tax allowable depreciation. As being assumed to be equal to CapEx requirements or which does not account of significant so is equal to criteria. Oh, we're going to use current assets or current, and there might be a need for you to be flexible in investment, so much so that an opportunity might present itself that requires you to take more than just the basic risk to expand significantly so as to be able to get some kind of value. And in that case, assuming that CapEx and tax allowable depreciation are the same would be unrealistic or inappropriate. Any question? Okay, so if there's none, we can move on now. So let me go through. So before you continue, let me go through what I've done here. So if we think about it, they asked us that if we look at what the question has asked us, the third part says estimates the amount of debt finance needed in addition to the cash reserves to acquire Fodaco and concludes on whether PursuitCo's current capital structure can be maintained. So if we reason with that, then the total amount of debt finance required will be, so total amount of debt finance required will be the 49 points. So that's the total amount of money you need to pay for PursuitCo. Do you get that?
Yes.
Now, since that's the amount of debt finance you require, then the next thing now is to start thinking about it. Now, since Pursuit Co intends to use debt finance, the current value of debt in Pursuit Co is 70 million. The expected value of debt in the combined company, because that is what Pursuit Co is going to become following the combination. So it will be able to increase its debt capacity by the difference between its current value of debt and the value of debt. The value of debt when it becomes the combined company. And so we said the additional debt capacity of Pursuit Co following the acquisition will be the two values, as in the current value subtracted from the future value of its debt. Now we get that as 24.58. The next thing is we look at the fact that it says that it's not only going to use debt finance, but it's going to use the cash reserves. So if it takes that 20 million, right? It takes that 20 million plus the debt capacity, 458 million available without changing its capital structure. That's the important thing. That the capital structure, what we are saying is capital structure will not change. And since it wants to, see, they trapped you, because we can still not change the capital structure if we raise equity and debt in the same proportion. But because the company says we want to finance this thing using only debt, that's why it has constrained us from being able to find other smart ways of going around it. So since they say they are going to use only debt, then it means that they have to maintain their current capital. And since they say they are going to use only debt and they want to maintain their current capital structure, that's why the question is as slimy as it is. Do you get the point I'm making?
Yeah, I got you.
Yes.
Oh, that's impressive. Maybe.
Mr.
Brian, sorry, but I know I initially said don't worry. I think where I have issue, I didn't. How did you get this 49.012?
You calculated, see, okay. If this thing is bothering you, because I've seen that it's not even adding much value. If this thing is bothering you, 49.012 is this 9 million plus the 40 million. See now, say this figure is the figure on its own. Okay, so they're going to pay a premium of 9 million, Abi? Iffy?
Sorry, I'm listening.
No, I'm listening now, I don't understand. But you're going to pay a premium of 9 million, right? For the pursuit,
Yes.
for acquisition of the shares of that premium, that 25% premium, right? Now, so it means that the total amount you're going to pay is 40.01 plus that 9 million.
Okay. That's how you got it.
Yes, basically.
Okay.
But what I did was to go and do it as the equity will be 1.25% of 90 of 40.01, because we are paying a 25% premium, and the debt will be 10% of that 40.01.
Okay.
It gives you exactly the same thing. So I'm saying anyhow you do it, you still get that 49.012 with any computation.
So, Mr. Brian.
Yes, ma'am.
So, can you say, as part of the assumption that it is assumed that the capital structure of the combined company will be equal to that of the purchase? Will it be acceptable?
Yeah, but that's a requirement of the question. That is, but yes, okay, but now I would say I don't know how to say this in a clearer terms than to say that, please, every time you read the requirements of the question, because see what the next requirement of the question now tells us. If I remember correctly, it says, explains the implication of a change in the capital structure. So yes, I think that will work.
You know,
yes.
in my computation one, that's where it.
You said what happened?
Why calculating those things?
That you assume that we assume that the capital structure of Pursuit Co will, and the combined company will have the same capital structure as Pursuit Co now. Is that not what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes, that's an assumption of a sort. Yeah, it's an assumption and it's valid. You definitely get the points for that. I just feel like if there are too many things, because the other part of the question now says, what's the implication of a change in capital structure of the combined company to the valuation method used in part 1? So if you change the capital structure, then it means that the WACC will change. If the WACC change, the present value of the cash flows will change. Present value of the cash flows change. It means that the whole valuation of that company is rubbish. So basically, once we've done that, this additional finance needed is not possible based on what they want to do, then it means that all the computation and everything we've done up to there is rubbish. That's what they wanted you to find out. I've just wasted your time. I've just been wasting our time since. Is William here?
I'm here.
Are you following in any way what we are doing?
I'm following, but not fully.
Yeah, because that's why I went through that very, very long discussion because of you more than anything.
Brian,
At the beginning. Yes, ma'am.
does it mean two things? Does it mean if we're using the present capital structure, we won't be able to afford the acquisition of Fodaco?
It means that you have to now borrow, either raise
Extra
equity,
form.
or increase your debt finance. But we can't maintain it with the current capital structure. Because
Okay.
if we borrow new bonds and we don't touch the equity, what it means is that this remaining 4.4 million, if they didn't tell us about the fact that they want to be constrained to using debt, then what would have happened was that they will now go and borrow 2.215 million in debt and 2.215 million in equity, and then their capital structure will still be 50-50%, because you've just added 2.215 to equity and 2.215 to debt. You've not changed the capital structure. The problem is the constraints that they gave in saying that they want to use only debt to finance this acquisition. That's where they had an issue.
Okay, I get. And the meaning of this debt capacity, it means the maximum you can borrow.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Without changing this capital structure, that's what is happening in this case. So their debt capacity is constrained by the fact that they don't want to change their capital structure. So in order not to change your capital structure, the amount of extra debt that you can borrow will be the difference between where you are now and the amount of debt you want to have by the time that acquisition is completed. Any question?
So, Mr. Brian, are you explaining the IV?
I don't get.
You just explained IV.
Yes, I explained IV in the sense that, oh, okay, I didn't even open for IV. Yeah, that's what I did now, about the changes in capital structure, right?
Yes.
That's what I've just explained. That if you change,
right?
Hey, yes. God, I beg you.
Is that a no or a yes?
It's a God, I beg you.
That's a no.
It's just a God, I beg you. Nothing else. Okay, so let's write. It will log us out. We'll log back on, and then we'll write down, and then we'll go. Control.